All right, so we should be on, and welcome everybody back. Again, I'll be mixing a song here live on YouTube. This is Presonus Studio One Professional version 4, and the song I've got here is a dancehall rap song that I recorded probably over 10 years ago. Let's switch on over to Studio One for it. So I think we got 27 tracks here. So for the sake of time, I'm just going to show off here real quick is just the power of the arranger track in Studio One that just lets you reorganize and rearrange your whole session. So you see I've got intro, hook, verse, hook, verse, hook, verse, bridge, hook, and outro. So we're going to take out some of this just to save on time today. So I'm going to we'll do the intro, hook. Let's see, we'll take out this first verse. And let's see, we'll take out this second hook. We'll move this verse down. Let's see, after that verse, let's go ahead and jump into the bridge. We'll do one more hook. Actually, I think there's some transitions in this fourth hook. And then from there, we'll go into the outro. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do, I've already done a little bit of gain staging here, but I'm just going to play through this so we can listen to it and just, try to figure out where we want to go with this mix, anything that needs correcting, anything that needs fixing, and anything that needs enhancing. So I'm going to play it from the top. This is a track that I produced years ago. I've got some electric guitar and bass added to it. Yeah, let's give it a listen.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. That means I make tracks like this.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance all night with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I pond the river, pond the bank, down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, pushing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Proving till 5 a.m., a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Girl, me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Girl, everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance all night with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Okay, so a few things I'm hearing. One, so The vocals are sounding really good. So these vocals were recorded with Avalon 737 and a Neumann U87. I do hear just a little bump in the high mids that I want to just make the vocal just a touch brighter. The female rap verse, the low mids, I want to bring that up just a little bit, just to add some warmth there. The bass, I want to bring that out some, and the 808. So what's interesting about this production and song is that when you look at the low end, you only have the 808 and you have the bass. So I've got a lot of room to really bring out that low end. There's not a lot of, there's nothing else competing with the low end. It's just the 808 and the bass. So I'm gonna start with the drums. Gain staging I've already done, and it's not gonna. Well, it's already reset. I've got a level meter here just to check my levels, and I believe I'm at -10. Let me just confirm that.
Wine of my effect.
Zoom. Go. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna
Club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and they're still nice and cold. And everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding.
Okay, so yeah, we're starting out with everything just around -10 there. So I'm gonna start with the drums, and I'm gonna start with this 808, and I'm gonna solo it along with the bass, and start there with just getting the low end right. So let's see, this 808, to bring that out more. I thought I had the fat channel up there. So with the Presonus fat channel, the passive EQ here, I really like it on drums, especially 808s, because I can take this boost. I mean, I can go, it's probably about, this 0.30 is just enough at about 60 hertz, and that can really bring out the 808 here. Let's see. So I'm going to dial that in and listen to it with the bass, and then I'll bring in everything. And you have any questions, any comments, go ahead and leave it in the comments and I'll get to it.
Won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance all night with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and they're still nice and cold. And everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Okay, I'm happy where with that 808 is sitting there. So, I've got it at 0.60 at 60 hertz. Normally I'm at 0.20, 0.30, but again, there's nothing else competing in the low end, so I'm really able to drive this 808 here on the low end. Let's go ahead and finish the rest of the drums here.
Sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance all night with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing. with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding.
Alright, so I'm going to use some EQ to boost a little high mids on this. I got snare here. It's really not a snare, but it's, and I guess in the context of this mix, this is. Okay, I'm gonna check the balance of that just against the whole mix here real quick.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning.
Okay, I'm good with that balance. So now I'm just going to probably look at some things to pan here a little bit, which will probably just be this percussion track. I'm just going to move it a little bit to the left or right and see which one I prefer. And then I'm going to take the Pro EQ and just check the low end to make sure there's nothing in the low end that's there that shouldn't be, because neither of these sounds, the hi-hats especially, or this percussion track, really needs anything in the low end. So it shouldn't be anything there, but I just want to double check that.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you.
So you can see the hi-hats here has something going on down in the low mids. I'm just going to filter that out real quick because I don't want anything down there to be heard in the hi-hats. There's no reason for that.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music.
Okay, so I like this percussion track on the left, but actually what I'm going to do is take a second and automate it so I can have it switching from the left to the right. Sancy21, I see your question. The Lynx Aurora, I had a Lynx Aurora 8. I know they've got the, I guess you call them remakes or reissues. I had the older one, the silver and orange face ones, and I really liked it. So yeah, that's definitely a good converter to get, and I really like mine.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice.
This is a quickly explain what I'm doing here with the automation in Studio One. Really easy to do automation in Studio One. You just click on the parameter that you want to automate, which in my case will be the pan. And so I just click on the pan, and in the upper left, you see it now says pan. Just grab that hand, and I'm just going to pull it down in between here, and I've got an automation track. So from here, I just put my automation in.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shaking it on the dance floor.
My man's all make tracks like this. In a club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drink.
All right, so the automation is drawn in. Let's take a listen to that.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shaking it on the dance floor.
My man's all make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morn. In a club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold. And everybody, I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morn. In a club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold. And everybody.
All right, the one on the left, I'm going to pull that out to the left a little more. All right, now let's hear it in the mix.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shaking it on the dance floor.
My man's all make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morn. In a club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold. And everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Okay, so I'm good with that. We're going to move on. Let me see. So I'm going to check for low end as well on the crash and this drum roll. I'm going to pan out to the left and right. Let's start this crash here. Let me find where. Here it is.
Tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up? Tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morn. In a club and tracks like this. Hey, sexy, tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morn. In a club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep.
Okay, so we're going to roll out some of that. Roll out just a touch of that low end, and we're going to just slide that crash over just a little bit to the left. And now let's take care of these this drum roll here, and then we'll be done with the drums.
My man's all make tracks like this.
So I'm trying to find a low end bump that I hear on these drums to bring them out just a little more on the low end. All right, let's check that against the whole mix.
My man Czar make tracks like. My man Czar make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? My man Czar make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of your dance.
All right, DJ Davis Rose. So you asked about the Studio One stock plugins. The stock plugins in Studio One are really good, most of them. So you asked about the limiters. The limiter I use a lot, especially in mastering. The stock compressor is good. Pro EQ, so I'm using it now. For this mix, I'll use some stock plugins here. The Fat Channel, the compressors in there are hit and miss to me. The LA2A and the 1176, they don't really sound like 1176 or LA2As to me, or even behave like one. The LA2A has a slower attack, and the Fat Channel one has a fast attack, which you could look at as it just being another compressor, different type of compressor. But I find that the Tube Tech emulation, I like that one. Probably my favorite one is the Neve one. But the compressors on there are hit or miss. The EQs are good. You can get pretty far with the stock plugins in Studio One. So I'll use some here, just to show you. As we got that drum roll balance now, let's move on to the bass.
My man Czar make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance.
All right, so definitely want to bring this bass out some. So let's see. So I'm going to shape this with some EQ, and let's listen and see if we need any compression. I'm just listening for notes that are dipping, that are going low, or notes that are really loud that I want to bring down, which I don't think there's any really loud notes in this. And if I'm not mistaken, this bass was also tracked with the Avalon 737. I can't remember what mic we used. It was either the U87 or... Yeah, I think it was the U87 on this. I think the electric guitar, we used the Royer and SM57. But yeah, let's listen to this bass and see if we need any compression. Okay, so yeah, I definitely want to. I'm going to use some compression to bring this forward. I don't hear too many notes that are being really dynamic here. So let's see. Since I just talked about it, let's see if we can get the. We'll try the Neve here and see if we can get going. And yeah, let's get this bass shaped. Okay, so just making sure here that I can still hear the attack of the bass and the attack of the 808. What I'm going to do is, and we're just going to try this. I've got a low shelf here going with a 1073 style EQ, which is going to boost everything from 1020 hertz on back down. But I know that this 808 is, I've got it really hitting at 60 hertz. So I'm going to take just a high pass filter, and we'll see how this sounds. If it doesn't sound good, I'll take it out, but I'm just gonna roll it up a little bit above 60 just to give the 808 some more room down there and hear how that sounds. All right, I think I'm liking it without the high pass filter in there, so we'll leave that out. So let's balance this against the rest of the mix here.
I mean, it's all making tracks like this.
Okay, so I'm good with that, but I'm going to. So this drum, when this drum roll is coming in, I'm kind of losing the bass a little bit. So I'm going to do some automation and pull the bass up there just when the drum roll hits. So again, simple automation in Studio One. I'm just going to click on the bass fader, and it pops up here in the upper left. Bring that under the bass, and we just want this part boosted. We'll try 4 dB and start there. Okay, so I'm good with that. So I can hear the drums good. I can hear that drum roll good, and I can hear the bass good. So I'm going to go ahead and slide down. Let's see. We'll need to do that here. And okay, so the bass isn't playing on that drum roll here. And probably got one more. Nope, that's it. Okay. Okay, so now let's move to the next track. It's just the Mamba. Okay, see what we got here.
On ya.
So I'm just going to pan these out left and right. I really don't hear anything. So not everything in the mix needs EQ or compression. I really don't hear anything that I want to pull out or add in that. But I am going to just take the Pro EQ and just check, see if anything's going on in the low end. And yeah, I see it is. So let's get rid of that. Okay, and Juan, you're asking when do I usually use the fat channel in my mixes? It really just it depends. I like it on drums. Like I don't know how long you've been watching, but the passive EQ on kick drums, I really like that for the fat channel. Yeah, I don't have besides drums. I can't say there's one thing I just automatically reach for. Now I am able to quickly use the fat channel. So if it's something that I just want to high pass real quick or something I know exactly what I'm going to do with it, it's not something I'm trying out to hear how it sounds, then yeah, I'll use the fat channel and do what I need to do with it really quick. But for sure, drums on it. Let's see. I think next track is, okay, we got the electric guitars. So I'm going to probably pan these out some too. And we'll probably hit these with some EQ. Let's see what we got. Okay, so I'm kind of hearing some ringing in there that, if I was doing this, I'd probably take the time and try to find where that ringing is, but I don't think I'm really going to hear that in the mix. I'm not going to worry about it right now. I am going to put some compression on these just because some of these licks are just lower than the other ones. Like we can see this one here is just a little lower. So we're going to add some compression and smooth that out a little bit. As far as EQ, I'm going to put it in the whole mix and listen to it, and I'll decide from that if it really needs any EQ to kind of move it forward a little bit. All right, so I'm going to create a bus for these two guitars so I can just process them all on one track instead of two separate tracks. All right, I'll grab the fat channel for this just to show you like so this is supposed to be an LA2A obviously, but it's got a really fast attack on it. And for this I would want that. So I'm going to use this and see if we can level out these guitar licks here. Okay, so that's pulling up that low one, but I'm starting to hear that kind of ringing that I told you about that I didn't like. So what I'm going to do is that ringing I'm hearing is on the sustain of it. So I'm going to grab a Transient Shaper, which my go-to for that is the Waves Smack Attack. And I'm going to cut some of this sustain and see if it will remove that ringing that I'm hearing. That's the mono one, so no. Let me find so I'm usually using it in mono when I use it, but for this I need the stereo one, so let's find that. And I'm actually going to place that in front of the compressor. All right, see if I can get rid of that ringing that I'm hearing. Okay, so we're getting there already just by a real quick cut of the sustain. So this is a before and after. Okay, so the rest of it I'm going to try to take care of with some EQ, which I'm going to make a cut at, we'll start about 2 or 3K in the high mids and see what that sounds like. Okay, that's not really doing what I want, so I'm going to grab the Pro EQ because I can actually see what's going on there, and I can probably see where it is that I want to cut here. Juan, you say, will I be going over my favorite stock plugins for vocals? Yeah, I can use stock plugins for vocals on this mix. That's no problem. I will give them a shot. If they're not giving me what I want, then I'll go to something else, which is my normal routine for using plugins anyway. If I don't get what I want quickly, then I'm moving to something else. But yeah, I'll give the stock plugins a shot here. Okay, that's not giving me what I want either, but I'm gonna listen to it in the mix and see if I'm hearing it in context with the mix. Okay, so got the balance here. I'm gonna add some reverb to the guitars now because now they're just sounding too dry to me. So let's do that, and we'll keep it stock here. Let's do the room reverb. Okay, I'm happy with that. Let's see what this track is here. Pad, let's see what we got here. Okay, so yeah, for these, I'm just gonna turn these up and balance these. There's no EQ or compression I feel is needed for this. So like I said, everything in the mix doesn't need to be EQ and compressed. Be breezy, appreciate that.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor.
I mean, so I make tracks like this.
All right, I remember I had forgot to answer a question up here about the Ricky Rowe. Are all my levels at -6 when mixing? More -10, -12 when I start. With this one, I started with it -10, and I move up from there. All right, I think we're ready to add the vocals back in, and let's get this hook going. Let me find the hook. Here it is. So yeah, like I said at the start, definitely want to bring this hook out with some EQ. I don't want to add some low mids. Let's listen to it again in the mix since we've moved some things and pushed some things, and hear how it's sounding now.
Come on now, shake it up on me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. I mean, so I make tracks like this.
Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Okay, so we're gonna start with some EQ. I'm trying to think, do I want to bust these? I'll keep them separate for right now. Let's go ahead and pan them though. Actually, we'll leave them up the middle, process them, and then pan them. And I forgot about my bus compression again. Let's do, well, I know we're keeping it stock here, but Studio One doesn't have a stock bus compressor. Because technically I could use the compressor, but I really like, well, actually, that Neve compressor in the fat channel is used on mix bus. Let's give that a shot. If not, I'm going to go to the free bus compressor I like, that Decam. Let's see. Yeah, let's see what we can get away with on mix bus with this.
Come on now, shake it up on me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. I mean, so I make tracks like this.
Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby,
Yeah, so I'm not hearing the glue that I want to hear. And actually, not thinking about the Decam, so the Decam doesn't have a high-pass filter on it, and I definitely want something to, I don't want the low end to really pump and drive the bus compression on here. So let's just take the stock Studio One compressor and set it up as a bus compressor and just see how that does. It's not something I normally use on mix bus, but if I'm trying to keep it as stock as long as I can, we'll give this a shot and see what we can dial in with it here.
Come on now, shake it up on me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. I mean, so I make tracks like this.
hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning.
And just really quick, when I'm setting this S, I mix with for my mix bus compressor I normally use is a Chameleon Lab 7721 or a Smart C1LA, which is both outboard gear. I always use outboard gear on my mix bus, but just doing this live, I can't incorporate my outboard gear. But I'm so used to using SSL style compressors that I'm just, in my mind, I'm setting this as if it was a SSL compressor with the same attack, same release values on that. And again, I'm listening for the glue, where I want to hear just a little bit of compression and hear the compressor just kind of glue everything together. So it's be a good test and see what just the stock Studio One compressor does here. And the compressor does have this filter here where I can roll off some of the low end, so the low end is not being seen by the compressor and drive the compression.
Come on now, shake it up on me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. I mean, so I make tracks like this.
of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of.
Okay, I can hear the compressor kicking in a little bit here, so I'm going to leave it set here because as I push more levels, it's going to drive into the compressor and cause a little more compression. But typically with mixed bus compression, I don't want any more than like 3 dB going on the mixed bus. And this is what I use on my mixed bus compressors: 30 millisecond attack, 300 millisecond release, and that's kind of where I start from there. I forgot where we were. Oh, the vocals on the hook. All right, so let's get back to the hook.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor.
I mean, so I make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold. Never.
Okay, yeah, I'm going to set a bus for all of these, so I can just do all of this at once. And all right, go back to that fat channel. So for the compressor on this, I'm going to use the FET, which is of course an 1176. And one thing with this 1176 and the fat channel is that you can really drive it. I wish it had a link function like some others do, where I can push the input and they'll back off the output at the same time, because when using 1176, you've normally got one hand on the input and one hand on the output, and as you push one, you got to back off the other. So I'm going to leave this at 0 for now. I'm going to start to drive this till I get the compression I want, which hopefully will add some character here, because I want to add some character into this hook. And then we'll move on with the EQ, where I want to add some low mids and a little bit of high end too as well, to bring it out with some presence. What's up, Johnny? You said that's the bus compressor using the fat channel, the Neve. Yeah, it wasn't working for me here. I need to play around with it more. I like it on vocals though, is normally what I use it on when I reach for it.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor.
I mean, so I make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club will never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
All right, don't know if I'm loving that. I can hear it pumping a little bit, and I'm not liking that, but I'm gonna bypass it for now and move on to the EQ and come back to it. Might try a different compressor. See, Johnny, the key, I forgot about that. It does have the key filter on there.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor.
I mean, so I make tracks like this. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion.
So this a vintage 3-band EQ, which I believe is another. Well, it's not a. I thought it was a 10. It might be another 1073 style EQ, but I really like the high end on here. and I want to bring out some high end on this vocal. There is fixed frequency points on this one, and I'm in my head right now thinking I want to boost somewhere between 100 and 200. Let me see what we have here. Okay, this is looking like a 1073 style EQ with these low end points. So let's start at 110. It may go to 220, but see if I can get this dialed in EQ wise, and then I'll circle back around to the compression.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. My man's all make tracks like this.
Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding.
Okay, so I boosted a little bit at 220 to just give a little warmth in the low end there, and some highs at 10K and a little bit at 3.2. So let's move back to I'm hearing some compression that's badly needed in this. We need to level this out. I'm gonna switch to, so the VT1 is based off a tube compressor. Let's try this, and it's not okay. So I'm thinking of the RC500 is a solid state one that has a fixed 3-to-1 attack. But let's go with the VT, and let's see what we can dial in with that.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. My man's all make tracks like this.
Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it. Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
All right, that one isn't going. Yeah, it's not going to work either. So I'm hearing. I got to go back and listen again to find exactly. There's one part that I'm hearing that's dipping. Let's try this Neve comp one more time on the vocal here. See what we can get here.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shake it on the dance floor. My man's all make tracks like this.
Hey, sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
That's what I was looking for. So it's the last line of the first half of the hook until it gets boring. Let me see.
Never close until the dancing gets bored.
Okay, till the dancing gets boring. So with the compressor in now, you can hear that line stays up with the rest of it. But watch when I bypass it.
Never close until the dancing gets bored. Never close until the dancing gets bored.
So you can hear how boring kind of disappears there. So I wanted a compressor that's going to bring up that low level, and yeah, that's what the classic compressor, which is based off of Neve, which is a 2254, I believe, is the model, did. So I'm happy with that. So let's move on now to the rap verse here, and there were some things that I wanted to do with it. I forgot what it was, so let's listen to it again and figure that out.
You say, hey, sexy, won't you say,
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, on the bank, down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, pushing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Proving till 5 a.m. a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
Okay, so I'm hearing a little bit of compression that we'll need to bring up just a few of those low parts. And okay, I remember I want to add a little bit of low end, low mids, and we're going to bring up just a little bit of the high end. And want to say I can do that all with the fat channel. We'll see here. We'll start with rolling off some. Just high pass it a little bit here. And so I'm hearing 150 that I want to boost. Let's go. So this is the mid section of a pull tech. Let's see. I'm starting at 200. That might be a little too high for what I want. So let's go back to the passive, because I know it's got the 100 hertz. I'll start there. And yeah, so pull tech style EQ will work good here because I want to boost some lows and boost some highs. And the highs, we'll try 3 or 4 to bring a little presence. I just want it to sound a little bit brighter. And one thing with the fat channel, this passive EQ, a little goes a long way. So, I mean, not even like 1.0 is probably too much. Like a little really goes a long way with this, as you saw with the 808 that we used this on. So let's dial this in, and then I'll come back to the compression and find a compressor that'll work for it.
you say,
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, on the bank, down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, pushing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Proving till 5 a.m. a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
Okay, so we all know that the cool trick with pull techs, you can boost and cut at the same frequency. I've got a little bit boosted at 100 hertz, and it's at 50 it's starting to get too much. So I'm gonna try is here at 50 and maybe about half that on the cut and hear what we got. I don't want the low end to get muddy, but I do want it to come out and just sound a little more defined and thicker. And this top end, we'll deal with that in just a second. But let's get this low end right.
you say,
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I pon the river, pon the bank, down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, pushing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Grooving till 5 a.m. a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
So keep on playing the music, DJ.
Okay, so I'm good with that. Let's move on to the compressor. And before we compress the overall thing, I'm hearing some S's that's coming out. So going to show you a trick here with the Studio One compressor, because so Studio One doesn't have a per se a dedicated De-Esser. So, but we can take the stock compressor and turn it into a De-Esser. I also have a way I turn the multiband compressor into a De-Esser as well, but we'll do this with the stock compressor. So those S's, well, first let's hit the Pro EQ and let's find where these S's are, and then we'll hit them down with the, I'll show you how to change the compressor into a De-Esser and address that.
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, pon the bank, down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on. Wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on. Wind my waist. He whispered in my ear.
Okay, so we can hear that S really poke out there around 8K, so that's where we'll choose to address this. So move the Pro EQ, turn the compressor back on. So, and what I like to do whenever I do this, I like to just rename this as De-Esser, because it'll confuse me having it still say compressor, but I'm not using it as just a full-on compressor. I'm using it to De-Ess. So to turn the compressor into a De-Esser, you're going to want to go to this filter, and we're going to roll out just basically everything below 8K. And I'll probably go up to like 6K. So now anything below 6K won't be seen by the compressor. I'm also going to change the ratio and give it a harder ratio. We'll start at 8:1 is what I normally do. Attack, we're going to want a fast attack on this, which that's good there. And it's maybe about a 200-second release. All right, let's see if we can, and I'll adjust the threshold so we're getting maybe like 6 dB compression here on these S's. Oh, what's up, Cool Drizzle? Appreciate that.
Wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on. Down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up. Down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up.
So you can hear on whispered, it's working. It's starting to work, but it's a little bit too much. So I'm gonna come back up off the threshold some till we get it to where we want it.
Down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on. Down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on.
Okay, I'm good with that. So let's do a quick before and after.
Down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear. Down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me.
Okay, so let's find, we got the S's taken care of. Let's get back to the fat channel, find a compressor that we'll use to smooth this out. Actually, instead of using these emulations, I'm just gonna, let's just try the standard here. Soft knee. And so a soft knee, just quickly explain what a soft knee is. We have knee control. I thought there was in here. So I know it's definitely here. So the knee, as you can see, this kind of looks like a knee, which is why it's called a knee. But a harder knee, or this is a soft knee, where the compression, as it goes up, it's going to take longer for the compressor to kick in because it's going at a smoother curve here. Whereas if you had a hard knee, which is more of a sharp knee like this, once the compression hits the threshold where that blue dot is, it's going to immediately go over into compression. So if you want compression that's going to be more obvious, more aggressive, you want a hard knee. If you want something that's going to be more smooth and transparent, you want a soft knee. Let's set this back to 6 dB here. Okay. So let's see if we can dial this in here.
bank down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back. Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, pon the bank down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, pushing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Proving till 5 a.m., a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me. Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, pon the bank down the flank.
And so when I'm listening for it now, I'm just making sure that every word in the verse is clear and I can hear it. Especially a problem area that I anticipate is that drum roll. When that drum roll comes in, I want to keep the drum roll strong. If anything, I can automate the vocal up there. But I'm just going to listen through and just make sure that every word is clear and audible.
Through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, pon the bank down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, pushing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Proving till 5 a.m., a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
Okay, so with the drum roll, I forgot that I dropped the beat there, so that came through fine. And now I've forgotten that we've got ad-libs here. So I'm going to take the ad-libs and we're going to pan them just a little bit to the right, get them out of the middle, and I'm just going to copy over the same settings as the lead vocal, and I've got the ad-lib down. This is what, 5.5 dB difference. So now some of these parts, I can hear everything in the verse now, but some of these parts are going to come out as well with the ad-libs here. So now let's take a listen.
Through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, pon the bank down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, pushing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Proving till 5 a.m., a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
Okay, I'm good with that. Let's move on to the bridge, which we're going to see if this works, but same voice here as the hook. So I'll go ahead and play it just in case you forgot what it sounds like. But I'm going to copy over the same vocal processing that we had from the hook, since it's the same person, same voice. And a lot of times that works. So we'll see what we get here.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Yeah. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Yeah. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. Yeah. So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Yeah. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Yeah. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. Yeah. So keep on playing the music, DJ.
So I'd say that worked. I need to balance this. Where is it? The electric guitar that came in, but I want to add. Let's see. It's on this track on its own. Yeah. So I'm going to add a delay on here just to give this more of an interesting effect here. And we'll keep it stock. We'll go with the analog delay.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky.
And I'm going to copy over the same reverb from the guitars and see if that works.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom.
I'm going to go through. I'm going to quickly take out some of these mouth noises I'm hearing.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the cold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more.
Alright, let's hear how it sounds in the mix here.
Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky.
Up on me.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more.
Okay, so that's good. I'm going to listen one more time. I wasn't paying attention to what the guitars was doing. They felt a little loud at first, but now that we've brought his vocal up, let's see how it balances now.
Can still dance some more.
Hey, sexy, want you back?
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket.
Yeah, it's a little loud, so I'm just going to fix that with some automation since it's fine everywhere else. So same deal. We'll just automate this down. We'll try 3 dB to start with.
On ya, get a little closer, push it up on me.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room spinning like a zoom zoom. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it
On ya, get a little closer, push it up on me.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Yeah. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room a spinning like a zoom zoom. Yeah. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. Yeah.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance.
Okay, I think that's good. Pretty much done here. Now this transition from the bridge back into the hook, this hook comes in loud. So I'm going to, so I either need to turn down the hook or turn him up. So I'm just going to check the transitions from the hooks into the rest of the verses to make sure everything is balanced there to determine which one of these I need to do.
Floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. Yeah.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? Hey sexy, won't you grinding to the beat of the music? You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping.
Okay, see, I'm going to turn the hook down just like a dB and a half. Where's that hook bus? Here we go. All right, see what we got here.
Dancing and never gets old, so baby keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. All I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Yeah. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room a spinning like a zoom zoom. Yeah. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. Some more. Yeah.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me?
Okay, I'm good with that. So I'm gonna I should put the compressor before the level meter here. But play it, find this hook, play it, and just check where my levels are now.
On me, I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl.
Okay, so I'm doing right at 3 dB of compression on the mix bus. Level meters, I was up around with -5, -6 dB, which is pretty much where I mix to. -5, -6. I'd say I probably don't go over like -3. So everything level wise here is good for me. So I'm gonna say we are done with this. I'm gonna play it back from the top, and I'm gonna disable all the plugins, and so that you can hear what we have now versus what we started with. Any questions, go ahead and let me know while I'm playing it back, and I'll answer them afterwards. And I think we got away, well, besides the wave smack attack, yeah, everything else in this mix was stock Studio One plugins. All right, so taking it back from the top.
Come on now, shake it upon me, rude girl. Shaking it on the dance floor.
I mean, so I play tracks like this. Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold, and everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Walking through the door, they got the party jumping. Crowds moving right to left, room is shaking. Bass pounding through my chest down to my feet. Straight to the dance floor, riding on the beat. I on the river, on the bank, down the flank. I whipped my hair, swung my hips, wind my waist. He whispered in my ear, come back, it's up on me. I felt him poking through, so I popped it back on him. Reached back and grabbed his neck, stretched my grind. I felt the sweat dripping, my body rewinds. Non-stop nasty whine of my fat kitty cat. Squeeze close up behind me, push crashing on my back. Room steaming hard to see, the walls are soaking wet. Grooving till 5 a.m., a night we won't forget. Cause all I want to do is back it up on ya. Get a little closer, push it up on me.
So keep on playing the music, DJ. Everybody keep feeling the pounding of the reggae. Yeah. Me myself is moving to the boom boom. Got the whole room a spinning like a zoom zoom. Yeah. Everybody feeling like a rocket in the sky. And I wanna be here all night long cause I never felt so high. And the beat and groove has put me right up on the gold floor. So come on now baby, shake it, we can still dance some more. Yeah.
Hey sexy, won't you back it up on me? I wanna feel the motion of you dancing up on me. I wanna dance tonight with you until the break of morning. A club and never close until the dancing gets bored. The drinks keep coming and it's still nice and cold. And everybody's dancing and never gets old. So baby, keep on grinding to the beat of the music. You got that body, girl, so just get down and use it.
Okay, so that's a wrap for this mix. If you want me to mix your sessions live, you can email. I'll have my email in the description. You can contact me and send me a session, and I'll mix it live here on YouTube if if everything goes well with that. I also want to quickly plug my podcast, the Faders Up podcast. It's on all platforms. It's a pro audio podcast. We talk about everything. I describe it as pro audio and beyond. We discuss everything pro audio on it, so be sure to check that out. So generally in the description, all of the plugins I used, I put in the description. Since this was all stock plugins, I guess we used the Wave Smack Attack once. I'll have that link for that as well in the description. Thanks everybody for tuning in, and I'm trying to do these like every 2 weeks, so like twice a month. Come on and do this. So. As of right now, I'm planning on doing one 2 weeks from today. All right, thank y'all for tuning in.